Hey, this is John Samuel, host of All Access with John Samuel. And this is the show where we share the stories of entrepreneurs, advocates, and leaders who are improving the lives for people of all abilities. And today we have a very special guest. We have my friend Chris Hendricks, who is a recording artist, an advocate, and an employee benefits counselor. And so, Chris, thank you so much for taking the time to be here today.
Thanks for having me, brother. This has been a long time coming.
I know it really has been a long time coming. I'm super excited because, we've been friends now, I think almost for a year, because I heard you speaking at a conference that we had done back in I think 2019, end of 2019. And,
Yeah.
you were just so impressive sharing your story. I think you were the keynote at that conference. And I was just so impressed with your story. And I think I reached out to you and then we instantly clicked. And, but I think the one thing, Chris, I didn't realize was that you're actually like a celebrity. I had no idea about your music recording background. So, I'd love just to kind of hear about, quickly, I mean, how did you get into music and what did it mean to you?
Sure. Well, I've been in music since I was about 4 years old. That's how long I've been singing. And I get my music background from my dad. He was a country and bluegrass artist. And it was always a passion of him that he sort of obsessed over. And then eventually I inherited that obsession. And I was really primarily a singer for many, many years. And then in college, I picked up the guitar and started writing songs. And all I can say is that I got lucky. One day I was writing songs and playing in coffee shops on Franklin Street in Chapel Hill. And the next day I woke up in California and then Nashville and then New York. And I got to just open up for people that were way cooler than me. And eventually it was just a natural progression for me to use my music as a megaphone for advocacy and possibility for people with conditions, because you just didn't see many people in that space, in that spotlight. And I felt like I could use my writing abilities as a songwriter to make an impact. And that's how it all started.
So, Chris, you mentioned being an advocate and talking about your condition, but I think a lot of people may not know that you have cerebral palsy. So, could you talk about what is cerebral palsy? When were you diagnosed, and how has it impacted your music?
Sure. Well, I have a specific type of cerebral palsy called spastic diplegia, which means that it affects primarily the left side of my body, and the musculature is just extraordinarily tight. Lots and lots of tightness throughout the body. It's considered like a broken pulley system, if you will.
Okay.
And when I was originally diagnosed at the age of 4, it sort of acted as a shadow that would always kind of follow me around and was very intimidating and sort of freaked me out. And so I had an internal battle with it constantly, just doing whatever I could to sort of ignore it and get rid of it and fight against it. Because I knew that it would kind of separate me from the pack, and that made me uncomfortable. But then when college came around, a switch flipped in my brain, and I thought, I can't run away from this thing. How can I turn it into an advantage? And from college on, I kind of used my ability to stand out as a result of my condition to be a megaphone for independence and strength, regardless of how one comes into the world. So, and I've kind of carried myself that way ever since. At least I hope so.
No, that's very cool. You definitely do, man. And what do you think gave you the strength to turn that switch on? Because I think that's something that's so unique and that a lot of people don't understand.
I would have to say my mom and dad have a lot to do with that. My mother in particular really, really emphasized the value of being different. But she also kind of reminded me of the equality of sameness in the same breath. So in the one hand, she would say, you're unique, figure out a way to embrace it. but she
Yeah.
would also say, everybody has a thing. And I can't remember exactly what, whether it was a movie or a song or something, but it just really struck me that everybody has scars someplace. And I have the luxury of wearing mine on the outside. And I wish I could really define that moment for you. But I can say that my dad, before I got to college, my dad and I had a really powerful conversation, because we were both going through a lot at the time, and I won't get into it here, but we were just going through a lot. And my dad reached out to me, and over the phone, he said, I'm going to take this time that I have, and I'm gonna turn my life around. I'm gonna make the best of what I was given, and I want you to promise me that you'll do the same. And I promised him. I promised my dad that I would. And up through, a lot of people don't know this about me, but between when I was diagnosed and up through high school, I went by the name Jamie. My name is Chris James Hendricks Jr.
Oh, wow.
But in college, I decided to go by my first name, Chris, because that's my dad's name, as a way to constantly remind me of the promise that I made to my dad. And that represented a significant turning point in my life. That was really the catalyst that gave me that strength.
Wow, that's awesome. I mean, that really is special, because I think it's easy to sometimes try to hide, because I hid from my 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 condition for years, because I was embarrassed and ashamed by it. But I think that you truly embraced it, and you strove with it, and it's amazing. And you talk about your dad in such a inspiring person in your life, and somebody you look up to. You know, you mentioned before he got you into music. What was it about music that was your tying? Like, what was his connection to the music, and how did you kind of find that bond together on that?
Well, this is kind of a cool story. So music has always had this hypnotic hold over me in the same way that it really kind of captures everyone else. But something I recognized when I was really young is my dad would have these parties on the deck of our home, or really he would just be at a party that happened to have a deck, because that's where parties were in the South. They were either in a cornfield in the grass or on a deck.
Yep.
And my dad was he was always at the center of it. And he was at the center of it because he had this guitar in his hand, and he sang and he joked, and he could just totally just capture an audience. And I remember just being, just 3-4 years old, just being totally enticed by that. I would sneak out of my room, out of my crib, and crawl out onto the back deck if there was like whenever I heard the music, and I would just watch my dad in awe. And I remember just thinking, even at that young age, even though I didn't really understand what it was, I was like, man, I want that. I want to be able to use that tool, whatever it is my dad is doing, to capture an audience in the best way, in a positive way. And I hope that I've done that in real life nowadays. I can't speak for everyone that I've spoken in front of and performed in front of, but that's the hope.
No, bro, you've done it for sure, because you captivated me, and I that's why I sought you. I went after to connect with you, because you have that it factor, dude. So totally, I think and I guess I now know where it comes from. So and I think we, in the community, in the disability community, we need it. But it's interesting. One thing that you often you use a specific word, and that's conditions. Can you talk to me about why you use that word, and what does it mean to you?
Sure. So some people are empowered by the word disability, and I don't want to speak ill of them. What's great about having a condition, as I say, is that you, as the person who has the condition, you can define it however you want, right? And so if the people in our community who consider themselves disabled, or rather a person with a disability, if they're empowered by the word disability, then rock on. Use the word disability. For me personally, condition is more empowering, because the word disability implies that I'm missing something. And I just don't believe that's true. Across the board, not just myself, but the people that I know who have their conditions are usually whatever condition they have that gives them challenges, there are other aspects of them where they outshine their condition in some way. They overcompensate for it in an extremely positive way. And so I don't see any lack. I don't think that we're missing anything. So I use the word condition because, one, I don't think we're missing anything. Two, I think that it brings persons with conditions and other people that may not be as connected to the world of disability as we are. I think it brings us together. And I think it elevates us as a whole, as a society. The closer we are to each other, the more of an impact we're going to be able to make. So that's why I use that word.
And I love it. Yeah, totally agree with you with that. The closer we are together, that's how we're going to make an impact. And I'm so thankful that you and I have, been able to connect and build a friendship that goes beyond just our, the conditions that we have, but something that is, I think that, you inspire me in a way that teaching me something new every time I talk to you, whether it be through your art and your comic books or graphic novels and your music and everything. Every day I learn something new about you. It's just like so cool. And so, last thing, Chris, like, what do you think that you want others to just, kind of think about from an advocacy perspective? How can we get others who have conditions and who don't to come together to really make an impact? What do you think people can do?
Well, here's how I would put it to them. If you're a person with a condition, or if you're a person that is considered to have a disability, I would ask that you would think long and hard about what is your value story. And what I mean by that is, if you have a condition, think back to a time in your life where that condition has been of value to you. All the time we talk about persons with conditions and disabilities. We talk about the mountains we've got to climb and things that we've got to overcome. Well, what about the awesome asset that your disability offers you? Your condition can be as much of a shadow or as much of a light as you make it. And I think that's the biggest turning point for me, is when I decided to say, this is not a shadow, this is a light, this is a beacon, and here's how I'm going to channel this beacon. So if you've got cerebral palsy, maybe it's awesome that you get to park closer than anyone else ever for the rest of their lives. No matter who else tries to park closer than you're going to park closer than them. Maybe, as a result of a different condition, maybe you have an incredible memory. Maybe there's a specific a focus that you have that is just like only you, because of your condition, you can zero in on that one thing better than anybody else. There is some aspect of your life that is improved and valued, not in spite of your condition, but because of it. And think about those times when your condition actually elevates you, and focus on it, because I think it's going to drive you towards strength, courage, and independence.
Awesome. No, thanks, Chris. That's this is awesome, dude. I think that that beacon of light and just really focusing on what our strengths are is it's good for anybody, right? No matter who you are. And so, Chris, thank you so much for sharing, just a bit about your story. I know there's so much more that I could spend hours talking to you, and I have done that in the past. And so, Chris, how can people get in touch with you?
Reach out to me through my personal website, if you like, www.IamChrisHendricks.com. It's the same for my Instagram or my Twitter or what have you. Or you can email me directly. I love reaching out and responding to emails. So even if it takes me a while, I'll get back to you. Just chendricksmusic@gmail.com. And those are my personal connection spaces. So you're always going to get me. You're not going to get anybody else.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris, for this. And everyone, please subscribe, follow us, and to hear more great stories like this with Chris. And definitely reach out to Chris, because he is accessible and attainable, and just a wonderful person to know. So thank you all for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.